Are you tired of not making money and tired of not actually improving in your sales game? Here's a tip for you. This is Tyler. I'm one of the owners of Bright Home Energy. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Do it. Share the show. Yeah, a couple things I would suggest to somebody who's new to the job and new to solar and maybe just sales in general is I've always heard the saying that like sales is a numbers game, which is only partially true. It's actually only true until once you know your numbers. And that's kind of the biggest misconception is sales is not just something you're born with, a sales skill. Sales is not just a numbers game. It becomes a numbers game once you know your numbers. So for example, some advice that I give our new people, and it's what I did starting out, was I literally started door to door back in 2009. And so we were like pen and paper. And so when I got back into solar in 2015, I adopted, or back in door to door into solar, I adopted basically this technique that is what I call the numbers game. And what the numbers game is, literally I would write down every single interaction that I had that was a real interaction. Just because when you're out there for 4 or 5 hours at a time, everything kind of adds up, builds up, kind of goes to one extreme or the other. And you have to really live in reality. And so what can happen is you can go an hour or two without talking to people. You can go an hour or two, where no one answers the door or no one gives you more than 5 seconds. And so what the numbers game actually allows you to do is write down each of your interactions. So on the left side of paper, I would write down like a name or something that helped reminded me of that person. So it could be the sweet little lady with a yappy dog. And then what I'll do is I'll write down what I did well. So I'll write down the person or something that reminds me of them. Then I first write down what I did well. And then what I'll do is I'll write down where I got stuck and what I would do next time I get into that situation. So to give context, let's say I talked to this nice old lady with a yappy dog. Maybe I was very clear, nice. I kind of got on her level. But then she asked me for a card and I just totally forgot everything I ever learned. And I'm like, yeah, here's a card. Thanks. Bye. And so now I know I'm going to get that objection again and again and again. So now what I'm doing is I'm giving myself the credit for the things I did well, which is, hey, I was clear, I was concise, I spoke to her on her level. Then I would say, hey, if I had that over to do again, what would I do? I would say, yeah, sure, definitely have a business card I'm going to leave with you before I take off. But before I do that, X, Y, Z, and go back into my pitch. And I think that's where people get lost in this, is they think it's just I can go mindlessly talk to as many people as possible and somebody's bound to say yes. No, people say yes because you take them through the process and you're leading them. They don't just usually say yes in happenstance. And so that would be my advice, is simply write down every single interaction, give yourself credit for the things you're doing well, and then write maybe where you got stuck and how you would prove it. And you'll see over time is like, hey, there's a lot that I'm doing well, which gives you confidence. And then you know where you're getting stuck versus mindlessly going out there, knocking on doors. Nobody wants it. I guess I suck. I guess the product sucks. I guess the territory sucks. When you can really start living in reality of here's what I'm doing well, here's my interactions, and here's how I can improve next time, and then start implementing that and trying it out, and you'll start seeing more success. If you're struggling working the hours, you're not making the kind of money that you want to make, and you're not improving, here's why. The tip I call this little exercise the 4-quarter system. I think sales is so applicable to sports. Same with this job. Most of our sales reps, typically in the afternoon and early evening, especially during the summertime, they're only getting about 4-ish hours of prime lead generation. Talking to my friends in real estate mortgages, it's kind of about the same. 3 to 4 hours solid, consistent lead generation per day will get you a really good pipeline. So to keep it simple, easy, and applicable, I break it down into 4 quarters. So the first quarter is usually the earliest part of the day. And you can't necessarily win the game in the first quarter, but you can lose it. And so all I'm focusing on that first 50 minutes of the day being out there knocking is I'll set a timer on my phone for 50 minutes, put the phone on silent, put it away. Those 50 minutes, I'm just trying to learn about the neighborhood. I'm trying to find 1 or 2 people that are home that probably talk to everybody, but can they give me ammunition, right? Can they tell me, oh, somebody just moved in who's a great candidate for solar? Oh, these homes were built in 1996. Oh, here's the name of the HOA. Oh, this, that, and the other little nuances about the neighborhood. And I'm using that for information that I can use later on. So my only goal in that first quarter is, hey, sure, yes, it's always to get an appointment if I can get an appointment, but I use that as fact finding, and that's typically 3 to 4 p.m. So after those 50 minutes, timer goes off. That's when you check your DMs, check your Instagram, Snapchat, call somebody if you need to. And you kind of just reset, right, for 5 minutes or so before you go on to the next quarter. The second quarter is where you start really trying to put some momentum together. And my whole goal during that 50-minute span is, one appointment, one appointment, one appointment. In that time, you're getting close to evening time. More and more people are getting home. But I'm realizing, the reality is I'm not going to catch as many people home during this hour, but the goal is one appointment, okay? Then you come to halftime. Now, sometimes if you're struggling and taking a longer break is going to knock you out of momentum or rhythm, you want to stay in your neighborhood, just keep going. But sometimes you might need to go to the gas station, get some fuel, a good drink, a good snack, just to kind of power you through the evening. But you want to make that maybe 10 to 15 minutes at the most. Like, it's a halftime, it's a regroup. You call your manager, you call somebody, that you need to talk to kind of get your mind back right. Because those next 2 hours, that's the third and the fourth quarter, that's where you win the game. And my goal is third quarter, like 2 appointments, 2 appointments, 2 appointments, 2 appointments, right? So that's the third quarter, so that's another 50-minute timer. Put your phone on silent, put it away. This is now when people are home and you're maximizing your sales pitch. And then the fourth quarter is where you win the game, right? My goal is 2 appointments, 2 appointments, 2 appointments in that fourth quarter, where you're really making that final push. And then after the fourth quarter, game's tied. What do you have? You have overtime. And I always told, 3 more doors. 3 more doors after dark, after it's, would normally stop knocking. That's going to be my extra couple of reps that set me apart. So if you think about it, you have the opportunity to get 1 lead in the first quarter, another lead in the second quarter, 2 leads in the third quarter, and 2 in the fourth quarter. That gives you almost like 6 opportunities to ultimately set 1 appointment. Whereas if you say, hey, I've got 4 hours or 5 hours and I just have to get an appointment or 2, it just makes it very long and open-ended, whereas these are smaller, concise quarters and smaller goals and checkpoints. You're running a marathon, and so you want little aid stations as you go. And so try the 4-quarter system plus the overtime. It will pay dividends. You will get more sales, and that's what's going to take you to that next level, is because you're hyper-focused for a short amount of time on what you need to do. You're not being discouraged because from the previous tip, you're writing down every single interaction. Those two combined with each other are what's going to take your game, your income, and your life to the next level.